Hello. So, no. Okay. So, yeah. I'm a little calmed down from before. Sorry, I'm gonna do that. I'm gonna do this. Yeah, right, whatever. Okay, we'll fix that in just a second, guys. No, it's just not great, huh? It's not great. Okay. Woot, 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 woot. There we go. All right. So, whatchamacallit. So I have calmed down a little, which is good. And it is due mainly to the chakra class that I am a part of. Come on, folks. Let's be a little bit more present in our bodies. Where's this? Where's the other thing? Is this it? No, this isn't it. Oh, I had it yesterday. Alright, well, today is Wednesday. And this is right. So I'm just really very, very grateful for the chakra class. Woo hair. Like, thank God for Robin and everyone in the class. It makes me very, very happy. It just makes me feel seen and heard, and understood. I think more than, well, maybe not understood. maybe not entirely understood, but at least I can be myself, and they love that. They love the meanness of me, and I love that they love the meanness of me. So anyway, I've been pretty neurotic these past few days. And it's funny because while I was at the conference, the summit, while I was at the conference, I was a bit, I hope that, I got shorts on, you didn't see anything. Okay, start again. I should just start this over. All right, while I was at the conference, I felt very nervous a lot of the time, and I didn't even really realize it until people started telling me to take a deep breath and to calm down. And even, like, take a deep breath, calm down, you're awesome. Like, these are great people. Like, they're awesome people, and I'm so grateful and lucky, like, just fortunate to have them in my life. Like, I'm really, Bo, that's sad. Is this? No, it is. Okay, hang on. It's very sad, and I gotta fix it. Sorry, everyone. Hope you don't mind a shot of my armpit. The other way around. Come on. All right. So, that's doing what it's supposed to do. Okay. So, they're really awesome. The thing is, though, that there's not a lot I have in common with them. And that is not bad. It's not one's better than the other. It's just different. And I just don't fit in. And it's not in, like, I don't mean it in the, like, angsty, like, I just don't fit in anywhere kind of way. I mean, like, you look around and you objectively see the spaces that are there, right? Like, let me see if I can describe to you what exactly I mean. Like, I'm very me. I know everybody is very them, but I'm more me, I feel like, sometimes than other people are them. In the sense that I can't dial it back. And when I try and dial it back, I get very neurotic. I get very, I mean, I already have issues with anxiety. They go haywire in certain situations. And everybody there has interests in the stock market and real estate and crypto and money and la la la. And they're all there to serve. Do not get me wrong. They're there to serve, and they're very aware of the fact that the money thing is not the point. The money thing is the way to get to what they want, the freedom or whatever it is the money's going to do for them. They're 100% there. They're good, awesome, fucking fantastic people. We just don't have a lot in common. And the things I like to talk about, things that where I express myself, are not in these things. And there's no open space for me to have a conversation in which I am comfortable in participating in a meaningful way. There's just not space for it. It's just, I mean, there's just no way. You can't, the conversations I like to have, you don't just start willy-nilly. You know, you don't just, oh, hey, you know, two spiritual healers and my psyche walked into a bar. You know, like, that's not really how it goes. That would be hilarious, though, if I just started making weird jokes like that. But I mean, what I do, I think, generally as a person is I open a space, and I open, because I am so much me, I allow and give permission to people to be them, but I'm not really allowed to be me in these situations, because my function is not to be me. I know it's weird, and I know it's like, oh, well, just be yourself, just, you know, don't dull your light, just shine. It's like, there's no way to do that. They don't want to discuss the things that I want to discuss, which is totally fine. They're just as wonderful and fantastic and as they are, and as grateful as I am to have them in my life, as much as I love them. They're not my tribe. They're not my people. You know, like, my people, maybe my tribe, sure. My people, no. You know, and I was discussing with Robin and the rest of the chakra crew tonight, like how anxious I was during this whole time. I'm gonna take my pills. During this whole time, and you know, there are a few things, a few peripheral things were happening as well, you know, like, that were making me nervous, financial wise. And just having things going on in my head that are just things that are going on in my head. But within this group, there's just no space for me to be me, and that's fine. It just results in neuroses, because I just don't know how to behave. I mean, I guess it's triggered, right? We were talking about it in chakra class, and Robin was saying, like, of course this is going to bring up a lot of stuff. Of course, you know, there's going to be a lot of stuff that gets triggered, and you know, that's totally normal, and that made me feel good, because it made me less judgmental of myself, right? Have a bit more compassion for myself, which historically is not really my strong suit, although I'm getting much better at it. But I didn't even realize exactly how keyed up I was until I started calming down during the chakra class. You know, and I mean, when I was talking about things, you know, I was just expressing myself, and, you know, even that they know me there, and they're like, yeah, your energy is just like, it's like a cyclone right now. It's just spinning and spinning and spinning. I'm like, that's what it feels like. That's what it feels like all the time. Just spinning and spinning and spinning. But I wasn't aware of it to the degree that I can be and I aim to be. One of the girls, one of the women in the group, drew a comparison that's kind of apt, referring to something that happened a few weeks ago, which was that guy who was very not respecting the boundaries thing. You know, like, I was like, I'm not interested in anything beyond a friendship, and that's it. And he was like, yeah, I'm gonna make out with you. And I'm like, oh, ha, 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 that's funny. So blah blah blah. And it's just, he got very, and it made me realize later on, it took me days. It took days for me to really process this. But luckily, at one point, I was talking to my chakra girls, and they were like, yeah, toxic masculinity, delete his texts and block his number, or never speak to him again. I'm like, no, you know, he's really nice. You know, I mean, he's nice. He didn't mean it like that, and blah, blah, blah. And then, like, you know, they're like, Sarah was like, dude, you're one text away from a dick pic. That's what's gonna happen next. So just delete him. I'm like, well, okay, but he just asked me how you doing? What am I supposed to do with that? I don't understand. And they're like, delete and block. And I was like, oh. Oh, okay, hang on. And it was an eye opener for me for several days thinking about it, because somehow I always wondered how I got to the place where I ended up with guys, right? A lot of the time I end up in a place where there was no self-respect involved whatsoever. But I just never, it always baffled me in a weird way. Like, I'm like, how am I here? Why is this happening? And they're pointing out to me, like, this is, you know, here's step one, here's step two, this is where you're going down the line. These are the things to look out for. So she was making this comparison, you know, saying like, okay, so right now what you want to do is start being more aware of the things that bring you to this place and this place and this place, because you're only becoming aware of it when you're up here, right? Like when I'm shouting something to myself out loud and dancing around the room without realizing what I'm doing. So sorry, I'm just thinking about a bunch of different things that were said. So it was, we're discussing how it's no wonder that it was this way, because they're not my people, right? Like, they're not as wonderful as they are, and as I'm sure that this isn't, I mean, it's not even within the realm of being, like, it's funny that I even say this in the sentence, like, it's not their intent, right? Like, I 100% am making this shit up. I am the one reacting to them in this way. but I don't feel safe there, emotionally speaking. It's not a place where I can just relax and be myself, kick back and be myself. It's just not an emotionally safe place for me, and not because of them, but entirely because of me. And that's fine. But it really, being there for a whole week, it was, I didn't realize it was going to be difficult like that. One of the things that Robin is saying, and other women in the group is saying, like, you know, maybe it's, you know, these are not your people, and that's, like, it's understandable that you're not feeling, that this is the way you're feeling, and it's triggering things. And, you know, basically, I think she was kind of intimating, like, why are you hanging out with them? And it's just like, well, number one, this is reality, and I have to know how to hang out with lots of different people. And number two, like, this is how I'm getting out of my shit situation. You know, these people are helping me, and they're awesome, and it's just a matter of figuring out how to relate to them on a level where I'm comfortable. Because there's just no letting go there. So really, what it needs to be is more focusing on them and their cares, and that's something that I found over the weekend too. There was a couple of people there for whom I was able to sit and listen to, or stand and listen to what's going on in their lives, what trouble they're having, emotionally speaking, or just within the family. One man was talking to me about how his wife got depressed and what it does to the family and stuff like that, and I was able to listen and really provide a safe place for him. And then another person was going through the end of a relationship. It was kind of messy, and, you know, it just, that's when I felt best, right? I was able to just be there for people, and it's when that I'm more focused on, like, what am I doing in this moment? How am I fucking it up? Like, blah, blah, blah. That's where I get into trouble. I wish Robin were on. I would have her come and we would talk. But, so it made me feel better to know that it makes sense that I feel this way. And that, yeah, I just felt much better and much more accepting of myself after this group, which is just always a relief. You know, like, I spent this morning being very, very neurotic and allowing myself to go there. This was another thing that we were talking about, you know, like, it wasn't just that it wasn't just that I was being neurotic and anxious. It was that I wasn't doing anything to stop it. I was actually purposely not doing anything to stop it. I was actively allowing myself to get into these cycles, to get into this thing where I'm just revving myself up and revving myself up and revving myself up, right? And it's you know, it's similarly to the beat myself down thing. There's this weird pleasure in it. It's like, it's sick. Like, I honestly feel like it's sick. Because it's all about fucking with my own emotions, like, really just being mean, really kind of being cruel to myself. And something Robin pointed out was, like, she said, you know, we all are addicted to negative coping behaviors, basically. And she said, one of my things, and this is true, we've discussed it, this is one of the greatest things about this fucking group, is awesome. Thank God for this class, and for Robin, and for everybody in the class. Thanks, everybody. All the ladies in the class, if you're watching this. There are these behaviors that we all developed out of our trauma or whatever from our childhood, coping mechanisms. And what I did was somehow my response to keeping me safe. So keeping me safe was self-flagellation and like high neuroses. Like these two things kept me safe in the environment as I grew up. Don't quite know how that worked, but it kind of just got fucked up. And I never learned to self-soothe. That was not something I was ever taught. And I never learned it on my own. So having to teach myself that as an adult is like learning a new language. You know, like it's just like, oh, this is foreign. This is foreign. I have to learn to self-soothe. It's not my immediate go-to. My immediate go-to is punish myself or get highly anxious and feel awkward and like, I don't know what to do. Those are my go-tos, and my go-to is not self-soothing. So there's a lot of effort that goes into not allowing myself to go down those paths. Not allowing myself to self-flagellate. I don't know, every time I say flagellated, I think flatulence. Self-flatulence. Self-flatulate. Farts. Anyway, it's an addiction though, because these are behaviors that served in a weird, twisted way, but they did, and that's why they feel good. It's because they're an addiction. They're not only comfortable because they're familiar, but my throat's very dry, sorry. But they're an addiction. They're what we do, right, to relieve whatever pressure it is that we're feeling, right? And that's what I do. It's like smoking or like taking drugs, right? It's something I do to relieve whatever pressure is or energy that I'm experiencing. It's how I cope, which is weird, but it's true. And that's why there's a pleasure to it. God, it's a really sick fucking pleasure though. Like I feel sick when I feel it. Like it's ugh. But at the same time it's like it's just like I can't even. There's like a weird, sick, sensual kind of pleasure to hurting myself emotionally. But that's what we're working on now, right? It's also being able to discuss this stuff with the girls in the chakra class though makes me have more compassion for myself. It makes me understand it more, and I have the ability to be more compassionate. It's okay. And I think that those are really good things to good awarenesses. And we were also talking about now with this is the second level of chakra class, right? First level was sort of the shadows in the chakras, so we're discovering, like, kind of digging deep and discovering the things that are blocking us and releasing them. We're in chakras 2 now. Oh my goodness. I need to go to sleep. We're in chakras 2 now, though, and we're focusing on our power, our strengths, which is a good idea, right? So we were talking about how we're in first chakra right now. What are our first chakra strengths? What is our first chakra power? And the first chakra is, the base of the spine. It's literally the earth. It's the first chakra that develops between 0 and 6 months. And it's about tribe and belonging, and the earth and gender and the basic things, basic parts of us, hereditary, family, tribe. Did I say that already? The base of who we are. Very physical, very of this world. And this is funny because this is where all my issues right now are, right? They're all first chakra issues, which is great because they're up for healing, right? So moving the other way, rather than looking at the difficulties that I'm having in the shadows and figuring out the trauma and where it is and where it came from and blah, 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 searching to release it, now instead focusing on our power, right? Where's the power in my first chakra? And a lot of times, most times probably, a power anywhere comes from comes from the traumas we've had, comes from the difficulties we've had, right? So because I have this anxiety, and I experience the anxiety because I am so myself, it's ridiculous that I just don't have an option to cover it up. It's just not possible. We've discussed this in class too. Like it makes it, like, me being so vulnerable, because that apparently is what I am. It's what everybody says I am, so I'm just gonna be like, all right, I'm vulnerable. It's like the buzzword these days. But because I wear my heart on my sleeve, right, and my vulnerability is just out there for everyone to see, because I'm just not even going to bother trying to, because all trying to cover that up is it's just adding stress, and that's not fun. So whatever, I am who I am, and because I am able to be so open and vulnerable, it gives other people permission to be so as well. So and this is the other thing, like in the group, that I can't be this open, vulnerable person. I mean, to them I am, because they don't see this, but like to really be the person I am, like they would be like, whoa, if they saw it. But because I am how I am, and I have a level of compassion. I mean, we all have levels of compassion, but I give permission to other people for them to be vulnerable, for them to feel their feelings, and be open about them. And that's a strength. That's a power that I have. I also think that I make people feel safe. And I don't necessarily create a safe space, like some of the people in my group do. Ramen can just create and hold the safe space, and it's kind of weird to talk about it that way, but when you experience it, that's what it is. Whereas I don't know that I create a safe space, but I think I make the person feel safe around me or with me, like they can trust me and they can just allow themselves to be themselves. I'm not going to judge them out loud. Like, let's be honest though. I mean, we all have judgments, but anything like a judgment that I have in my mind, anytime, it's just, it'll always be overpowered by the person's pain and how I want to help them and how I want to make them feel better. And I think that's a big strength of mine too, is like so many places in my life I felt like I don't fit in. One of these things is not like the other. One of these things just doesn't belong. Okay. Yeah, you like my big, huge armpits holes? Let's not look at that. That's all. Okay. I kind of want to go back and like just delete that, but there's no way to do that. Okay. Let's think about, see, this is me being very neurotic. I've got lots of thoughts going on in my head, and I'm getting keyed up. Bring it down. Bring it down. Okay. All right. So, because I've gone through life, and I mean, all of us do, right? All of us feel like we don't belong. All of us feel uncomfortable in certain situations. But I think because of the level of discomfort I have felt throughout my life, not feeling like I had a place, I instinctually, I automatically make a place for people. I gather people to me and I make them comfortable. I make them have, like I give them a tribe. You know what I mean? Like I make it a place for people to come and feel welcome and like they belong. That's something that I do automatically as a person, and I think that's a big strength. It's a lot of power to have. It does make me feel very empowered. Try and get that off there. So many thoughts all at once. So that's, sorry, I just get very distracted and very thrown off by certain things. So those are what I think my strengths are, some of them. I think I just make people comfortable. Except for when I'm being incredibly neurotic, in which case I'm sure they're like, I feel just as awkward as you feel because it's so awkward here right now. So yeah, I think that's the beauty of it, right? That's for all the neuroses and for all the anxiety and for all the punishment I put myself through. These are the things that come from it. These are the things that I can use to empower myself and empower others. To make, all I want to do is make people feel better. That's like all I want to do, other than art, other than telling stories. Like all this, the stuff for me is that stuff. It's also for the divine because it's the way I'm close to God. But another way to be close to God is just, I don't want people to hurt. I really don't want people to hurt. And my heart breaks for them when they do. And I want to do anything I can to help them. And I think that's a strength. And I think that comes through. And I think that, yeah. So like I'm just going through the first chakra things. Earth, family, ancestry. We're going to talk about ancestry next week, which is going to be interesting because I've got the two lineages. My biological lineage and my adopted lineage. So we're healing a shit ton of people all at once. So that will be fun. Robin has that too. So with her stepdad. Anyway, I also think, so there's ancestral, there's earth, there's tribe. We've discussed tribe. There's gender. So gender-wise, I think that I have a good balance of masculine and feminine energy. I obviously tip towards more the feminine, but I do have a good, I would say a good helping of masculine energy in there. Fire that kind of moves me along and sticks up for people and puts myself out there. So I got that. So awesome to that. I don't know how I can help people. You know what I do know? Interesting story. When I was in high school, I went to an all-girls Catholic school. I was was in the art group, and all our art friends were in the art group, and they were the people who they were the nonconformists, right? We all conform to the nonconformist ideal, and they a lot of times they were experimenting with their sexuality, and they always felt I would always get that. I would always have people come to me about it and talk to me about it, because on the one hand I was straight and just straight, just not interested. I'm not gonna, so if they come to me, I don't have any self-interest in having them be gay. And I'm not judgmental. Really, all my intention was for them to be okay, for them to feel good about themselves, for them to explore what they needed to explore. And so they always felt comfortable coming to me about that, which was always like a huge compliment. Like, it really felt good. So I think that's something I have too, like this non-judgmentalness for stuff that people can feel comfortable being themselves around me. So that's pretty awesome. And yeah, that's really about it right now. I'm gonna go to sleep because I'm freaking tired. But I love you all, and I'm grateful for you, and I'm grateful for the awarenesses that I have, and awarenesses that I will have, and the people in my life who just help me. I cannot wait to be the helper rather than the helpee. I mean, I do help wherever I can, but like, I'm talking like big time help. Like I've got the emotional support thing down. Like I can support anybody emotionally, and I can do anything I can to make them feel better emotionally. But when it comes to financial support and security, that's not something I have right now. That's not within my ability to provide anybody else. And that's what I would like to be able to provide people with. I cannot wait until I am the giver instead of the receiver. Like, that's going to be so much better. But while I'm in this state, while I am in the receiving state, I'm grateful for the people who are given to me, because there are so many of them, and they are wonderful human beings who I love dearly. Like, from the bottom of my heart, I am grateful for these people, especially like Walter and Dorina and Ron, these people who have formed Alchemist Nation and who have really taken me in, despite the fact that I am broke as shit currently. Who've really, I mean, I think I'm kind of like I know that I'm like Walter's pet project. You know what I mean? Like, I'm a project, which, fine. I'm grateful to be that, right? I'm grateful, like, you care enough, you think I'm worth it to invest your time and energy into me, and I will do anything to pay that back. I will do anything to pay it back and to pay it forward, because I know how important it is to have someone believe in you. I mean, honestly, the reason that I haven't given up over the past few years is because Walter's believed in me consistently. And even when he didn't, because I know there's got to be several moments, maybe days, rather than moments where he's just like, I'm going to fucking kill her. But he never showed that. He always consistently showed me that he believes in me, and he encourages me. And it's been vital to my growth. And to my staying above board, but not drowning, right? So I am very grateful for that. And I want to encourage you all out there to look at what you feel like are your fault, your deficiency, your lack, and see where you can actually perceive your strength and your power because of those lacks, right? Those things. One of the things Sarah, one of the girls in the group, said to me at the beginning of the conversation was like, where, not stop, but like, you're looking at the negative part of being being as anxious as you are, being the anxious person that you are. She's like, what about the positive? And I'm like, there's no fucking positive to this. All I do is worry about the future. I make shit up in my head and I worry about it. It's not reality. What the fuck? You know, like I make shit up in my head and then I worry about it constantly. And that is not this, it's exhausting. It's exhausting, and it's going to put me in an early grave. There's nothing positive about it. But then as the conversation went on, the positivity was that I have empathy for people that I wouldn't have if I didn't have that anxiety, that difficulty. So I'm grateful. I can be grateful for that, right? I can be grateful for my anxiety. I can be grateful for the fucking 10 years I spent on my fucking knees, not able to do anything but sleep and eat. I can be grateful for that because that brought me here, and that brings me to you. And anything I can say or do that empowers you and makes you feel better is what I want for you. So I encourage you to look for your own strengths in your weaknesses, and to be grateful for them, your weaknesses and your strengths. That being said, I'm going to remind you all that you can always choose to have a grateful night.